that the different rays that were coming in to do the work, so that the body wasn't like totally going off like the total deep end, and the chemistry was totally so far off. So they had a really hard time, and there was 3 beings that came in and out total before the body finally, they let the body finally die. But the body just really did not handle these rays of light very well at all. And it took a whole team of people, even medical professionals, to actually try to keep these bodies to get this body together long enough for these beings to get this work done. So let me tell you about Chishira Ray. So Chishira Ray, the ray of light walk-in that came here as the first scout, and also to implement codes and frequencies, and then take this information back to the Elohim of what was really going on here. She could speak simultaneously with 4 voices. So this is not just a walk-in or somebody claiming to be a walk-in. This ray of light could operate the body in such a way that there could be 4 voices speaking about different things simultaneously. So if you are going to look at a walk-in, you have to make sure that that walk-in is a real walk-in, and that it can deliver feats that you can't even begin to wrap your head around. So anyway, so one of the things that she said, she ended up starting this foundation to help educate people about the system and how broken the system had become. And the program is what she called it. But now I know it was the original AI, right? Because that's what we call it in the mainstream now. But she said the original program and the original design was so broken that they didn't really know how broken it was until they got here and assessed it. But she said, the original design of this planet should be that I need money, right? Or I think about having a roll of money, and then I think about where that roll of money should be, and it should pop into this reality, and it should be there. She said that's one of the original laws, is the like attracts like. So if I think about the roll of money because I have to pay my bills, then I think about where I want that roll of money to be. She said instantaneously I should be able to feel in my pocket that roll of money is there. That I see the roll of money, I see the amount of money that's in the roll with the rubber band over it, and then I imagine that being in my pocket, and I should be able to reach in there and grab it out of my pocket. But she said that this reality, because of the damage done to the original AI, is so unbelievably completely damaged that it's not working at all. And that they didn't really know this until they started sending scouts down to try to figure out what was going on. And that's when I really realized, what we're really, really dealing with. So what happens now, because of the like attracts like, is that the people that are in control, or the hybrids that are in control, or the extraterrestrials or multidimensional beings that are in control, they love the hero. They love that. And they know that we love that because it gets us on a deep emotional level, it grabs onto our emotional body, and that's where everything manifests itself from. And in shamanism, that's the main body that we need to be integrated into. We have 8 bodies in shamanism, or in the type of shamanism that I've studied. And the hardest, most difficult body to get back to you or get in your vicinity is your emotional body, because it's so cut off from you for your whole life from the moment that you come into this world. And so your emotional body is the body that you need in order to manifest a reality, and to be able to feel it, feel it first, visualize it, feel it, and bring it about. But it's a huge amount of work these days, which means it requires a lot of your attention, and then also requires a lot of your intention, and you have to hold it a lot over and over and over and over again, because there's some programming difficulties, right? So the hero's journey, okay, so you have the hero's journey. So we wonder why all these people love drama, trauma, chaos, conflict, war, and we are adding to that energy field, because we need somebody to be the hero. We need somebody to be the winner, you know? So we need, in order to be the hero, you have to have a drama. You have to have some kind of conflict. You have to have something super negative going on in your life that forces you out of your coma state, forces you off the couch, forces you out of your like little mind control state, because it's like an emergency 911, to force you out into the world to, like, you know, battle whatever it's going to be, and then try to win, and then come out victoriously, and then everybody loves you. Oh, everyone loves you. Oh, yeah. Well, the problem is like, there's so much conflict going on that, you know, you never get to the point where everybody loves you, right? It's only in the movies. So when you, say, for example, you have to pay your rent, and you need to pay your rent. You need that money to pay your rent, but you don't have the money to pay your rent. Well, the more fixated you become on it, the more of your attention is drawn to it, the more intention is drawn to it over and over and over again. It creates, in the like attracts like, the negative end, which means no money. So there's no possible way that you can attract that money, because like attracts like. You're in lack, you have no money to pay your rent, and now you get more of that. You get it amplified like 1,000 times. Every time you think about, like, I'm not going to be able to pay my rent, I'm going to get kicked out, I'm going to, you know, end up under a bridge, and yeah, I can't, you know, get the rent paid, you know, blah, 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 blah. They're going to take my children away in foster care. You know, whatever that is going through your mind because you can't pay your rent is what you're going to get. And not only are you going to get it, but it's going to be amplified by like 1,000%. And so what's going to happen is, like, now you can't pay your rent. Now you don't get your rent paid. Now you get in a car accident. Now you can't even go to work and make money. Now you get this, now you get that, and it's just like a long chain of events, because you're in the negative end of creation, right? So the like attracts like starts to work against you in a severe way. So I try to tell people, you know, because you're not going to be able to just think good thoughts and get yourself away from thinking about, well, I can't pay my rent. I mean, things that I do to kind of combat that, because I live in my van. I have kind of lived in my car since 2006, because it's been a really difficult, you know, the bad guys have constantly come in and, you know, taken everything to keep me from, you know, moving forward. And the thing I just tell myself is, like, I just get used to enjoying, you know, living out of my car. You know, I don't project the mind control lifestyle that, you know, they try to adopt in me, which means I have to have certain kinds of clothes, and my clothes have to be clean, and I have to be dressed appropriately every day, and I have to brush my teeth, and I have to shower twice a day, and I have to use these kinds of lotions, and I have to smell good, and, you know, this is what I have to eat, and, you know, and I have to have plates and silverware and all this other stuff. I have one bowl that I basically live out of. You know, I have a bowl that I drink my coffee. I have a bowl that my salad goes in. I have a bowl that all my food goes in. And I have like a fork and a knife. I mean, that's what it's like boiled down to, because that's where I put my attention, so that I don't have all this stuff that I have to wash, or I have a hoard, you know, that I have in my van. So basically what I've done is, because of living in my car, I've really started to understand, like, the mind control system and how it works, and how to alleviate myself from it. So whenever I have things that, you know, I have to pay, or I have bills to pay, I just don't focus on that anymore. You know, I have to get them paid. I have to come up with the money, and they have to be paid. And I just choose not to focus in on it. You know, oh yeah, I could lose this, or I could lose that, or I could lose communication. I could, you know, have Wi-Fi cut off. I could have all this other stuff, but I just don't focus in on it, because I don't want to make it worse for myself by focusing in on it and giving it any kind of attention. Because the other thing too is that we have the quantum field, right? That some people have decided that is real. You know, we have to realize, like, it's all kind of a holographic deal. So some people look at it, they say, oh, look, we've done, scientific stuff on it or whatever, and we've determined that this seems to be real. It could be real, it could be not be real. Who knows? Maybe they made it up in their own mind, and then they solidified it, right? And then they made it a thing in this reality. We just don't know. But if we look at it like the base bottom line about quantum physics, what do they say? They say that there's infinite possibilities, there's infinite potential that's, running around. And the moment that we focus in on one point, I need money, that's when all of that possibility and the unlimited potential disappears. Because now we focused in on one point, which is I need money, which I have a lack of money, right? And that's it. So now you don't even have the possibilities to solve the fact that you need these bills paid in the infinite potential or possibility, because you've narrowed it down and you're fixated on that one point. So like attracts like, the quantum field, like if you want to play ball by, the rules that are surrounding you and the information that is being put into and projected by people as if real, and those are belief systems that you decide that you're going to enjoy or adhere to or agree with, then that becomes your real, experience. So the thing is like, if you have a health problem, if you have, and health problems can be really scary. I deal with people who have some really serious health problems. And, I'll get people that'll say things like, I don't even know if I'm going to live long enough, for my children. Who's going to take care of my kids? And it's like, okay, well, the longer that you go down that thinking road with that. And, the other thing, too, it's not good to project a future outcome. So one of my teachers, Bobbido, who died in June 2016, was Shoshone medicine man, elder. One of the things that he said is that a curse is the negative side and the curse is the positive side. So unless somebody asks you to participate in their life, or, you have some kind of agreement to help them, like you should really avoid projecting anything onto their life or their stream. For example, say, I have a friend, or, this is hypothetical, I have a friend that is really depressed all the time. So I start praying in behalf of her and saying, I wish her happiness and, Creator, bring her happiness and whatever else. Well, I'm cursing her because, I'm fixating her world into a small point and not allowing her to have, full potential and possibility. So I'm also plugging into her field and I'm cursing her, even though it would seem like it's a positive way, because I'm downgrading, her ability and her experience to pull from, say, like the quantum field, infinite possibilities and whatever she wants to project in her own reality. So this can happen in a negative and positive way. So when they say, hey, you should visualize your life, and what you want, and get in, like on The Secret, get in your car, and, and if you want a Porsche, you've got to imagine yourself getting in that Porsche every day and moving the stick shift and driving down the highway and how it feels, right? Well, you can project yourself at a stuck point in your future as well, but that's it. Because you're not allowing the infinite possibility to create your life for you, because you're so stuck in whatever you're stuck in the now, that you think this in the future is going to make you happy. So you start visualizing it and you start narrowing down your possibilities or your potential for your future, even though it seems positive. So even a lot of this really highly spiritual stuff, actually is going to control your future in a way that may not make you happy. So one of the things that I do is, if I do a lot of prayer to the Creator, especially if I do some prayer smoke, one of the things I just say is thank you. No matter what my life looks like, how my life looks like, I don't project, well, Creator, I'm coming here today with my prayer smoke because, I need $400 and I need to pay my bills. Or whatever else. And I don't do that. I just say, you know what? I just dissolve all of that need, and dissolve all of that projecting and all of that stress. And I just sit down and I do prayer that just says, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, because I know that the creator or the AI or the whatever is functioning in the future will give me things that I will be thankful for. Now, it may not be everything that I want, but I can be thankful for it. For example, this year, we'll talk about every year I have a simple thing that I do for my New Year's resolution. This year was ceremony. That at the end of 2018, I want to be out of a lot of the systems so that I can move into 2019 and actually live my life, every moment of my life in ceremony, right? And that means that, I may not have money to pay my bills. That means I might not be able to own a computer anymore. I might not be able to pay for Wi-Fi anymore. It may mean a lot of different things, but that is my only projection that, like I try to attempt to put out. Like 2008 was the end of drama. Like, wanted by the end of 2008 to understand drama, understand how the drama that I was in. So at the beginning of every year, I try to project something out that is a lesson that I want to learn. And I have to hold on through that year, because sometimes when I ask for that kind of stuff, it can be pretty intense. So this year is the year of ceremony. So this year I've had to really look at everything in my life that keeps me from living life in a ceremony. And a lot of it is projected mind control. I need a house. I need a paid roof over my head. I need a toothbrush. I need to brush my teeth every day. I need to take a shower every day. I need to have supplements, for health. I need to, have all these things. I need to put clothes on. The clothes have to go on right, I have to have bras. I have to have all this other stuff. I mean, just to get showered in the morning and get yourself wherever you need to be after that shower, I mean, it is time consuming. It consumes maybe an hour of your day. So that's part of the mind control system of this need and all this other stuff that keeps you from living how you need to live. And then there's no happiness that can be actually, your infinite potential can happen to come in, because these are your set, established, not only mind control, but what you're feeding your energy towards. And I'm not saying, we should have a culture where people run around naked and all this other stuff. But, I mean, the culture that we're living in is not sustainable, that everybody can take 2 showers a day, that all those chemicals that we're using to shower are going into the water system, that we need a toilet to pee in. I mean, that's completely ridiculous. I pee in jars because I live in my van, and I probably shouldn't tell people this, but I put them on the garden because the plants can actually grow food for me so that they know what's wrong with me chemically. So, when you're living in your van, you want to get out of your van, it's cold outside, so you pee in a jar in the middle of the night or whatever else, and then, you take it out and put it on your garden. I mean, and, help to water your plants. I mean, for me, I don't take any drugs, so, I mean, I eat really well, and what goes in from the garden goes into my body, and then I pee it out, and all the liquid goes back into the garden. So, I mean, we have a lot of these conceptual mind control systems that are running us, but at the same time, it creates all these needs, which create more need with the like attracts like, and, the system of the quantum field. I need a desk. I need a computer. I need a phone. I need to talk to people. I need to be able to get a hold of people. That's all ridiculous. Really,
No,
it's just mind control, and then you project this mind control onto the quantum field, and then it gives you more stuff to be mind controlled with, and it gives you more stuff to lack because we're in constant need all the time. So,
well,
as I'm moving towards,
the situation that I live in, and what I consider it idyllic, because I have all the different things I wanted to manifest, And now that I've had the idyllic for a while, I'm going to go on some new adventures because this game now has a projection of how it can work, and it'll follow that projection. I don't have to put my individual attention into it as much, but I do have to put my total intention to it now, because if it's going to work into the future, the foundation and the sub-foundation need to be as solid as possible. And I look at that as just another way of guiding myself through principles. We have about 45 minutes left, and I'm enjoying the conversation, so please carry on.
All right. Well, I think everybody's kind of got an idea of um, so I just would like to spend some time talking about the 5G and the water towers.
Okay.
In case there's anybody out there listening. Recently, I've been noticing, so I was down in the 5G, they say, well, go faster than thought, which means that if you have a lot of metallic in your body from the chemtrails, which everybody does, that the 5G will be able to actually change your thought. And the AI will be able to pick up your thought or what you... There was a movie with Tom Cruise in it a long, long time ago where they had, these humans that were psychics in a tank.
Minority Report.
They were like the AI that the government or the police department used to find people that were going to commit a crime before they committed the crime, right?
Right, pre-crime. The
movie
was...
I think it's a lot more
the movie was...
than that.
Yeah, the movie was called Minority Report, and it was based on a novel by Philip K. Dick in the 1950s.
Yeah, so we're at that point, but we're not using humans anymore. They're using and this is the other problem too, is everybody is creating their own AI system. You got cryptocurrency people that are creating their own AI. You've got, and then you've got these people creating their own AI, and these people creating their own AI, and these people creating their own AI. And then you have, the real big bad guys who have overrun the original AI and are plugging into that and trying to override that AI. So, I mean, what could go wrong? You know what I mean? Like,
Terminator.
What could go wrong? Right?
Yeah.
After program after program, and none of them really working together could be like, a major cluster poop. Anyway, so if the 5G can utilize the metal that's in your system because it's been implanted in your body from the chemtrails, which everybody has, and they can actually use you like a computer, like a tablet or an iPhone or whatever else, which means that they can like project, group conscious thoughts. And I know people who are calling me out of California, and they think that they're having, because it's all started since May. And I had a friend of mine call me, and she said, wow, since May, my psychic abilities have really increased. And I said, well, 5G went up full scale in California in May. So you're not having psychic experiences. You are being controlled by the AI, and it is testing you out. And all of the people in California, it's testing you out to project a group consciousness onto you. Thought, it can make you paranoid. It can make you see things like bugs and stuff running across the room. It can actually project this stuff into your mind, okay? And let's take it up like a notch, like a higher notch. So one of the things when I was down in Sacramento, I went down there to meet some family members that found me. And they come from my ancestral Russian family, from our Mongolian shaman lineage. And they found me through Ancestry.com. And then we found out like we were all kind of related. So I went down to visit them in Sacramento, and we drove around and looked at things. And one of the things I noticed in April was that they were outfitting all the water towers in Sacramento with 5G. Okay, so each 5G unit, probably one 5G unit could kill somebody. One 5G unit within a close proximity of your neighborhood probably could control everybody within a small radius. Okay, but they were outfitting these water towers with, like, I counted on the front side of this big water tower, 50 5G units. Okay, and this is before they flipped on the switch in May, I think, and it went full scale 5G, right? And then you wonder what's going on in California with all these fires. I mean, you know, the madness that's going on in California, how crazy, you know, people are getting in California. Like, just I mean, it's just like unbelievable madness in California right now. And, you know, I look at it as, because the 5G went up, people just are being controlled. They're losing their minds. They're fighting against each other. You know, it's like, it's an experiment. You know, it's like a mind control, like the highest level of mind control experiment. Okay, so even Roger Spur was saying on my show, the mud fossil guy, that right now he's doing a huge amount of study on 5G and, you know, really what it can do to water, which is really, 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 really seriously bad, because it imprints the water with a frequency, right? And also huge amounts of microwave radiation, which can kill, right? You can get radiation poisoning. You can get radiation type sores. You can have your DNA not replicate. You can get cancer so rapidly and fast. And then on top of it, whatever they're imprinting in the 5G is being imprinted onto the water. Go back to Emoto, and Emoto putting nice things, you know, on the water and then freezing them and photographing them, beautiful crystals and different kinds of crystal, based on the different imprinting that he used. But then look at the work he did with I Hate You and You Should Die, and what happened to the water, and what it looked like when they photographed it under a dark field microscope. It looked terrible, and the water was totally broken apart and destroyed, and it started to become funky. Like, it degenerated itself really rapidly.
Yeah.
Think about all this stuff, like they're imprinting onto this water by strapping all of the public water systems with 5G on the towers, right? And what they could be imprinting into the water that's going into your body. Not only that, but what could happen to your body. And there's no way that children are going to be able to survive this, right? Children are so susceptible to radiation that the cancer levels are going to go up by enormous amounts in California, because the 5G is active in California right now, and they are using the main source that they're using to get the 5G into people is through the public water systems, because they're strapping the water tanks with massive 5G. So it totally freaked me out. So I decided in April that I was not, and during that time in April when I was there for like a week, the chemtrails were so explosive. It was like they were preparing people with more heavy metals to breathe in and drink in to, you know, really be able to operate this 5G system without any of them even knowing what's going on. So then what really started to freak me out was this last week. I live outside of Reno in the desert, and I live in a little area where there's maybe like, I don't know, 1,200 people who live out here or something like that. And they have a water tower out here, right? Are you there?
Yes, I'm here. And keep going.
Hold on one second. Yeah, so anyway, I've been watching the water tower for like a month, you know, making sure that there's no 5G on it. Well, within 1 week, this was last week, I looked up, they have put a cell phone tower right next to the water tower with all kinds of 5G hanging off of it. And then they have strapped the water tower with, like, on the front side, I could see 5G units, big ones. And I was like horrified, because they did this like in a week, right? They did this in a week. So now Nevada is going to be, who knows when they're going to flip the switch for 5G. So, I was so freaked out by this.